各位记者朋友，大家
Friends from the media, good afternoon. Welcome to today's press conference. First, I'd like to announce that member of the Political Bureau of the CBC Central Committee and Minister of Foreign Affairs Wang Yi will visit Namibia, the Republic of the Congo, Chad, and Nigeria from January 5th to 11th at the invitation of these countries. This will be the 35th consecutive year that Chinese Foreign Minister visits Africa on the first overseas trip at the start of the year.
记者提问：中国 CCTV. What is the significance of Foreign Minister Wang Yi's annual first visit to Africa this year, and what does China hope to achieve through this visit? Member of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee and Foreign Minister Wang Yi's visit will mark the 35th year for the Chinese Foreign Minister to make Africa his first overseas destination at the start of the year. At the Beijing summit, President Xi Jinping proposed that bilateral relations between China and all African countries having diplomatic ties with China be elevated to the level of strategic relations, and the characterization of China-Africa relations be elevated to an all-weather China-Africa community with a shared future for the new era. President Xi noted that the two sides should jointly advance modernization, featuring 6 characteristics, and take 10 partnership actions. The 4 countries that he will visit are all China's friendly cooperation partners. The purpose is to implement the outcomes of the Beijing summit, deepen practical cooperation across the board for sustained and substantive growth of China-Africa relations. Next one, please.
谢发言人，环球时报记者提问：人类命运共同体研究中心揭牌。
Global Times, the research center on building a community with a shared future for mankind, was officially inaugurated in Beijing yesterday. Could you share more information with us? What role is this institution going to play? The inaugural ceremony of this center was held in Beijing yesterday. Foreign Minister Wang Yi inaugurated the research center and delivered a speech. Building a community with a shared future for mankind is a major original idea of General Secretary Xi Jinping and the core concept of Xi Jinping's thought on diplomacy. It's China's answer to the question of what kind of world to build and how to build it, and has considered theoretical value, great significance for the times and the far-reaching global influence. As Wang pointed out, the vision of a community with a shared future for mankind carries forward the fine traditions of Chinese culture, demonstrates the power of scientific theories, and expounds on China's stance. China's vision delivers benefits to the world. This initiative has grown into consensus and been translated from a vision to practice, and is a driving positive and profound change in today's world, and increasingly becoming the most important public good with major global significance. The center will engage in more in-depth studies and publicity on and personnel training for the vision of a community with a shared future for mankind. It will provide support for advancing the building of a community with a shared future in the fields of theory, policy, discourse, and personnel.
还有，
谢谢发言人。北京青年报记者提问：我们注意到今年1月1日去。
Beijing Youth Daily, January 1st of this year marks the 3rd anniversary of the entry into force of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership RCEP. Could you elaborate on the outcomes of RCEP over the years and China's expectation? RCEP covers more population, involves more trade, and has more potential to grow than any other free trade agreements in the world. It has boosted economic integration within the Asia-Pacific region, created market opportunities for its member states, and shored up the international community's confidence in multilateralism. Research by the ASEAN Development Bank shows that by the year 2030, RCEP will contribute about $245 billion of economic growth and generate 2.8 million new jobs. As the largest economy in RCEP, China is committed to the comprehensive and high-quality implementation of the agreement. We will continue to promote the upgrade of the free trade in this region for common development and prosperity.
Good afternoon. Question from AFP on the US and China. The Biden administration said on Thursday that it was considering a new rule that could restrict or ban Chinese drones in the US. So the Biden administration said that they could do that out of national security concerns. Is China concerned about this potential move from the US? Thank you.
中方一贯坚决反对美。
China firmly opposes the U.S. overstretching the concept of national security, which disrupts and restricts normal economic and trade exchanges and undermines the security and stability of the global industrial and supply chains. We will take all measures necessary to firmly safeguard our lawful rights and interests. Next one, please.
Question from Antara. The Indonesian Ministry of Health recently released a statement in response to the spread of influenza A and other respiratory diseases reported circulating in China. The statement addresses a video circulating on social media that shows a hospital in China overwhelmed with patients suffering from severe flu. Does the Foreign Ministry have any comment on this? Thank you.
请你重复一下你的问题好吗？
Indonesia Ministry of Health recently released a statement in response to the spread of influenza A and other respiratory diseases reportedly circulating in China. The statement addresses a video circulating on social media that shows a hospital in China overwhelmed with patients suffering from severe flu. Does the Foreign Ministry have any comment on this? Thank you.
首先你这个问题呢，
First of all, I'd refer you to competent authorities in China. Respiratory infections often ramp up in winter in Northern Hemisphere. China's National Disease Control and Prevention Administration held a press conference not long ago sharing how China prevents and controls the respiratory infections in winter, and the scale and intensity of the respiratory infections in China have been much lower, and the Chinese government attaches great importance to the health of Chinese people as well as people from other countries. It is safe to visit China.
还有其他问题？
Are there any more questions?
Question from Bloomberg. I'd just like to ask a little bit more about the export control restrictions that were introduced or announced yesterday. Especially I'm interested in the ones pertaining to the restrictions on certain technologies that are used to make battery components and the processing of two crucial metals. I realize this is a MOFCOM, Ministry of Commerce issued statement, but can you help us understand from a geopolitical perspective or a diplomatic perspective what might be some of the intentions behind these moves and how might we interpret them? Thank you.
对，正如你所说，
As you've said, the Ministry of Commerce has released a statement yesterday, so I'd refer you to competent Chinese authorities for anything specific. More broadly, let me stress that in the light of actual needs and drawing on common international practice, China enforces fair, reasonable, and non-discriminatory export control measures in accordance with the law and regulations. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。共同社
Cue the news. According to reports, China, Japan, and the ROK governments will hold a foreign ministers meeting in Tokyo. Can you confirm that?
你这个问题目前我没有。
On this question, I have no information to share with you for the time being.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
还有其他问题吗？
Are there any more questions? If not, then let's call it a day. Thank you. Happy weekend.